Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Dear learners, I am Dr. Renuka Mainde, corporate nutritionist and counselor in IGNOU for their MSc DFSM course. Learners, in this module, we shall be learning about methods of cooking food, part 1. The learning objectives of present module are: discuss the objectives of cooking food, describe the principles of cooking food, explain the impact of cooking on nutrients in food, explain the factors responsible for cooking time, and discuss the primary treatment involved in cooking food. Let's begin. Food and cooking are central themes in any culture. Food is often an expression of our identity. Food provides energy to fulfill body's voluntary and involuntary process. Process involved in cooking needs to be followed step by step and also in hierarchy manner in order to get best desired results. Let us understand objectives of cooking. Cooking is perceived as an art and science. Cooking is the process of using heat to make food suitable for consumption. It makes food easy to digest, improves the appearance, texture, color, flavor, and taste of food, adds variety to meals, helps to keep food longer, makes food safe, eliminates anti-nutritional factors. Now let us learn objectives of cooking food in detail one by one. Cooking food makes easy to digest. When food is cooked, it becomes soft and easy to chew and swallow. The juices that digest food are able to mix well with the softened food and carry out the job of digestion. Cooked food improves the digestibility of food and it ensures the proper release of nutrients. Cooking improves the appearance, texture, color, flavor, and taste of food. Cooking brings about the desired changes in food, which improves its appearance, texture, color, and flavor. Change in color of carrots, beetroot, spinach, peas, and other vegetables is observed on cooking. The color appears brighter and more attractive. The brown color of roasted roti or paratha or toasted bread or baked cake is very tempting. When roti or paratha is cooked from soft sticky dough, it changes into a crisp roti or paratha with an improved smell and taste. A raw potato is not tasty, but a boiled or a fried potato improves not only its taste but texture, which is more appealing. Addition of spices and condiments while cooking helps in improving the taste and flavor of food. Cooking adds variety to meals. Every dish has a foundation ingredient on which other ingredients are based, coupled with appropriate cooking methods which enhance the food value by giving variety, texture, flavor, and altogether a new dish. Example, each of the cooking delicacy of cooked potato adds variety to meal. Like, potatoes can be cooked in different ways. Potato pakora, shallow fried potato tikki, potato chaat, potato paratha, potato vegetable, potato curry, and potato chips. Cooking increases the shelf life of food. Application of appropriate cooking method preserves food for longer. Boiling of milk helps to kill microorganisms which spoil milk and thus makes it last longer. Wheat dough gets spoiled after some time, but chapatis or the bread made out of it can be kept for much longer time. Cooking basically increases the shelf life of food. When cooked food is stored at room temperature, it helps to keep food fresh and longer. Cooking ensures food safety. Microorganisms are present in raw foods. Some microorganisms are harmless while some can be harmful. Microorganisms that convert milk into curd are beneficial, while those that cause disease like typhoid are harmful. Milk may contain bacteria that cause tuberculosis. These bacteria get killed when milk is boiled or pasteurized. Animal products like meat, fish, eggs, and chicken are more likely to have harmful microorganisms and should be cooked thoroughly before eating. Keeping the food for more than 2 hours at room temperature during summers can make it unsafe for consumption. Cooking eliminates anti-nutritional factors. Some food contain a number of naturally occurring anti-nutritional factors. Cooking helps to remove these anti-nutrients and make food safe for consumption. Cooking also helps in increasing the availability and absorption of nutrients. Example, raw egg contains avidin, which binds biotin, making it unavailable to body. Cooking destroys this property of avidin and increases availability of biotin. Other toxic substances like trypsin inhibitor, hemagglutinin, saponin, tannins, etc. occurring in pulses are also destroyed during cooking. Let us learn principles of cooking. Cooking is defined as the transfer of energy from heat source to food. This energy alters food's molecular structure. Cooking also changes the taste, aroma, appearance of the food. The method of heat transfer and method of cooking food gives finished product specific taste, texture. Modes of heat transfer. Heat naturally moves from hot surface to cooler surfaces. The movement of heat is commonly referred to as heat transfer. Conduction, convection, and radiation are the three methods of heat transfer. Cooking of food usually takes place by a combination of these methods. Conduction. Conduction is the transfer of heat between substances that are in direct contact with each other. Heat flow from the source of the utensils and the utensils get heated. The efficiency of heat transfer depends on the conductivity of materials in contact with the food. Copper is known to be one of the best conductor of heat. Heat transfer quickly from the heat source into the food through the copper cookware. Convection. Convection heat transfer is faster than conduction. Convection occurs by the movement of air, liquid or steam around the food. It uses the motion of fluids to transfer heat. When liquid or air is heated, the particles nearest to the source of heat becomes warm and rise upward. These are replaced by the cold particles which are away from the source of heat. The movement of particles result in the formation of convection currents which ultimately heats all the liquids or air present. Radiation. Heat can be transferred in the form of electromagnetic waves emitted from one body and absorbed by another body. It is rapidly transmitted to the surface heating. Example, dehydration of fruits and vegetables, roasting of cocoa beans, baking. Infrared radiation. It uses an electric or ceramic element heated to a high temperature. This causes waves of radiant heat that will cook the food and travel at the speed of light in any direction. Example, toaster. Microwave cooking heats up the water molecule in the food, which causes this energy to travel through the food via conduction. This method will not brown the food but will cook food quickly. Let us understand the impact of cooking on nutrients in food. Cooking influences the nutrients in foods. The method of cooking and the degree of cooking can decide whether nutrients like protein, carbohydrates, fat, vitamins and minerals are conserved or destroyed. Influence of cooking on proteins. Proteins harden and solidify or coagulate on cooking. The process is termed as coagulation. Milk protein is an exception. It does not coagulate like other proteins. It is important to cook proteins to the right extent because proteins shrink and harden on overcooking. This also renders them indigestible. Excessive heating of foodstuff also affects the nutritive value, especially proteins. Sugars like glucose and lactose form complexes with amino acids like lysine. Protein digesting enzymes cannot break down these complexes. The amino acid remains non-available to the body. Some pulses like soya bean, Bengal gram contain certain substances which hinder the digestion of proteins by the enzyme trypsin present in the intestines. It is important not to consume these foods raw. During cooking, these trypsin inhibitors are destroyed. The digestibility of protein in several foods improved as a result of moderate heating as in day-to-day cooking. Protein coagulates or sets when heated. The coagulation helps in keeping the nourishment within the food. It is sealed by formation of coat on outside. While cooking meat, cooking method causes the elastin in the connective tissue to shrink and the collagen converted into gelatin by heat in the presence of water. This results in separation of fibers and meat becomes softer and gets cooked. Cooking meat at medium temperature is better than high temperature, and this makes protein more digestible. Influence of cooking on carbohydrates. The starch granule in foods swells and absorbs water on cooking. This process is known as gelatinization. The thickening of soups, curries, stew to which maida paste is added is due to gelatinization process. Gelatinization takes place in all starch containing foods such as potatoes on heating in the presence of moisture. Dry heat causes the starches to break down into smaller molecules called dextrine. This happens, for the example, in the toasting of bread or making of chapatis or rotis. Dextrine have mildly sweet flavor. Sugar behaves quite differently. As table sugar is heated, it forms a syrup with water. On further cooking, the syrup thickens and changes color. This is due to the process called caramelization. The brown thick liquid formed is called caramel and is used in number of preparations such as custards and cakes. Let us learn the influence of cooking on fats. As in case of carbohydrates, usual cooking practices do not influence fats to a great extent. They are easily available to the body. The temperature rises until a point when the fat or oil appears to smoke. This temperature is called the smoking point and varies from one fat or oil to another. One should not heat the fat much more than this before putting in the foodstuff to be fried. On overheating, fat can catch fire. If fats are used repeatedly for frying, this gets broken down to form certain harmful substances. Fat melts when it comes in contact with heat. At high temperature, fat decomposes into fatty acids and acrolein. Darkening of the fat is caused by cooking at high temperature and also by presence of small cooked food particles. Abnormal absorption caused by frying for too long at too low temperature also contribute to breakdown. Fat also begins to thicken and becomes gummy. This condition is known as polymerization. Once the fat reaches this stage, it becomes unfit for use. Let us understand the influence of cooking on vitamins and minerals. The water-soluble vitamins and minerals dissolve in the liquid used for soaking and cooking. The process is called leaching. If the soaking or cooking water is thrown away, there will be considerable losses of vitamin C, B vitamins, sodium, potassium and chloride. It is therefore important to use the minimum of water or to utilize the liquid used for cooking in soups or curries. Steaming and pressure cooking limit cooking losses due to leaching. Boiling roots and tubers with their skin is the best. It is common to wash the rice 3 or 4 times with large amount of water. This results in decrease of content of B vitamins. Rice of poor quality requires more washing. Vitamins, particularly thiamine and niacin, can be lost to the extent of 40% throwing away the excess cooking water and also means throwing away nutrients. Addition of sodium bicarbonate, that is soda bicarb, when cooking pulses destroys the thiamine content from pulses. Thiamine is easily destroyed in presence of soda, which is alkaline. An acidic medium, example tamarind or tomatoes, preserve these vitamins. Two vitamins, that is vitamin C and thiamine, both are destroyed on heating. Vitamin C has another enemy, that is air and the oxygen it contains. The vitamin is easily oxidized on exposure to air and in this oxidized form is of no use to the body. This means that vegetables or fruits must not be peeled much before use and should be cut them into larger sized pieces. Fat soluble vitamins are not affected to any great extent by cooking in water. During shallow frying or roasting, vitamin A is lost in significant amounts. In deep frying, cooking time is short and losses tend to be less. It is very important to mention here that one should adapt the nutrient-friendly cooking methods so as to preserve and minimize nutrient losses during cooking. Let us understand factors influencing cooking time. It takes time to heat a food to the desired temperature at which food is done. Cooking temperature, this means the temperature of the air in the oven, the surface of the griddle or the liquid in which food is cooking. The speed of heat transfer. Different cooking methods transfer heat at different rates. Example, frying and sautéing are faster than roasting. Cooking time. Size, the temperature and the individual characteristics of the food. For the example, a small piece of meat cooks faster than large one. A chilled piece of fish takes longer to broil than one at room temperature. Seafood cooks faster than lamb and chicken. Because of many variables, it is not possible to determine the cooking time in a recipe. The primary treatment of food. The quality of final product is partially affected by the primary treatment given to the foods. Incorrect primary treatment can result in unacceptable final product. Appropriate primary treatment should be carefully used so that color, flavor, texture, taste and nutritive values are preserved to its maximum. Example, illy prepared over fermented batter may give off flavor to the final product which is not acceptable. Specific instructions to be kept in mind about Pre-preparation methods. Certain amount of preparation is necessary to get desired result in final dish prepared. Peeling. Peel only if it is necessary. Peel just before cooking. Peel as thinly as possible. Wash food well and drain before peeling. Never wash after peeling. Second step is soaking. Soak in as little water as necessary, just enough to cover. Don't soak too long. Do not throw away the liquid. Learners, let's summarize. Cooking, cookery or culinary art is the art, science and craft of using heat to prepare food for consumption. Makes food palatable, tasty and makes it easy for digestion. The main objective of cooking food as it helps to increase shelf life of food, adds more variety, it makes it safe for human consumption. Principles of cooking food involves the principles of heat transfer. Heat naturally moves from hot surfaces to cooler surfaces. The movement of heat is commonly referred to as heat transfer. Conduction, convection and radiation are the methods of heat transfer. Cooking of food usually takes place by combination of these methods. Cooking influences the nutrients in foods. The method of cooking and the degree of cooking can decide whether nutrients are conserved or destroyed. Impact on protein is seen by the process called coagulation of protein. Similarly, gelatinization and caramelization process is seen in carbohydrate cooking. Major loss of water-soluble nutrients takes mostly pertaining to vitamin C and thiamine. Cooking process begins with good preparation techniques and methods like peeling, soaking, chopping, which further reduces the time for cooking. Learners, here we come to an end of Methods of Cooking Food Part 1. In our next module, we shall be learning about different methods of cooking food. These are the few reference study material referred for preparing this module. Thank you, learners.